Hello everyone. It's Maddie with Spectrum Art Creations. And yes, I've got super beautiful colored hands. Why? Because today we're going to have a lot of fun using the new Tim Holtz Mini Stencil Chips. So you might have gotten a pack or you might have seen these and you might be wondering, okay, awesome. Yes, we can do some letters, some words with them. They're fun to just add as ephemera and tuck in here and there in projects. But what else can I do with them? Well, that's the question I had. So I was watching Tim's live and he was demoing these and he tried a technique with crayons and then I think he did some paint and then he taught us about some properties of, the little chips. And so I got to thinking, well, first of all, I want to try what Tim did. So I did. And then when I was done, I couldn't stop. So I just kept going and trying all kinds of different mediums. So our goal for today is going to be to make a bunch of these. Okay. Oh, hopefully it'll focus for us. But don't worry, I'm going to have close-ups of all of these and we're going to work on them together using all kinds of different mediums that you might or might not have in your stash. And if you have them, great, you'll come and play along. If you don't have them, then it might be something that you might want to consider getting, okay? So let's take a look at what we're going to need first. Okay, here are the supplies that we're going to need in order to try this technique. We're going to need some embossing folders. Now, I happen to have these mini embossing folders, which is what Tim was using when he did his, because everything is just smaller, right? So if you have something that's got small texture to it, that would be great. So I've got here several different ones. This one is the wood grain. It's called mini lumber. So these are all minis. This one is the mini brick. This one's got the cobblestone. This one's got, let's see, botanicals, that's what it's called. This one's got gears. This one's got those awesome metal plates that Tim used during his demo. And then I've got also this mini one with the rose, the mini rose, okay? So we can try some of those. Not sure how many we'll try. You're going to need some distress crayons. I have mine in my Tim Holtz tin. And he used, of course, his darker colors. But I'm also curious to see, can we mix some other colors? Maybe. So you'll need some distress crayons. You're also going to need your tool as well as your sanding discs. So the pack comes, I think, with 10 pieces. And they fit right on your regular distressing tool. Okay, so they just have little Velcros on the back and they fit like so, okay? So we're gonna need one of those. And of course, we're going to need the mini stencil chips. In here, you get 32 pieces, so plenty to experiment and play with, and of course, spell all kinds of stuff. Let's see. It just says 37 pieces, so I'm not quite sure. I think it's the alphabet plus numbers, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. So we've got all these, and again, they do have a finish to them already. As you can see, they are pretty shiny and glossy and metallic looking. So yes, I was right. So you've got your alphabet and then you've got your ampersand and then you've got your numbers here. Oh, there's a U. So maybe 1 through 0 or 0 through 9, however you want to see that. Okay. So you get your letters and numbers. And then we are going to need, of course, something to run our embossing folders through. So I've got here the Studio Light Inspire and Create Mini. I love this thing, of course. It doesn't replace my switch. I love my switch machine, but for smaller things like this little projects, it's just nice to have this next to me and be able to roll it, especially on camera. So those are the tools we're going to need to do the basic technique. And try what Tim did. If we have time, I think I'm going to try and venture into some other I don't know, techniques, trials, and see what gives. See if some are great, some are better, some are fail. Um, and so if I come up with anything else towards the end that we're going to be trying, I will be sure to give you the product cards on screen like I always try to do so that you know exactly what it is that I am using. Okay, let's get started. Okay, first things first, we're going to put these aside. Some of these I already know I'm not going to use, like that one I'm not going to use. This is the one that Tim used. We might use some of these other ones just to see what gives. But these are awesome because they're perfect for like ATC size or smaller projects. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try that heating technique. So if you notice, let me see if I can find a big one to try it on. So this is a bigger one because some of them are a little, you know, see, thinner than others. So we're going to try it on something that's got a lot of space. So Tim showed us that by heating it, you can, first of all, turn it from that super shiny to like a, not matte, but a pearl finish. So let's see if we can make that happen too. Oh yeah, I can totally see it. I'll show it to you guys and see if you guys can see the difference between up here. See where it stops? Right there and right there. And then the difference between that and this down here. Let me see if I turn it sideways. Can you see the difference between this color and this color? The top of the A is more of a pearl now. It's a little bit more opaque and not as shiny as the bottom. So you see that finish versus this finish down here, okay? Okay, let's do the bottom and then we can see where it stopped right there. And then we're gonna change this down here, okay? To match. That is pretty stinking cool. Oh, yeah, I can see it happening. You can actually see it happening as it's doing it. It just almost like becomes frosted, if that makes any sense. It's almost like, you know, when something's freezing and you can see it crawling towards, you know, and now it's all even, see? So let me see if I can hold up two of them together and we'll look at the difference. What about the letter K? That seems like a wide one. Let's see. Can you see the finish? How one is more matte, more of a pearl finish than the other one. The K is super shiny. It's super shiny where the A is more matte. Okay? Very, very cool. You could really see it right there. I just don't know if you guys can blow it up or maybe have it on your screen, on your TV, but do you see how shiny this is? And this is not. It's more of a pearl finish. Very cool. So that is optional, of course, as step number one to make a matte. Then what he did, and he said this was super easy to do, super quick. So we're going to see how quick we can do this. Then what he did was he picked an embossing folder and he used, you know what, let's start with the one that he used, which is this one right here. And I do have the larger one of these as well. But as he said, when you're working with smaller things, you don't want, you know, you want to be able to see your, what you're embossing, your plates, right? Where it's going to end up at. So if we look at here, we can see right through it and see that I'm going to have, you know, some rivets up here, some down there at the bottom. Do I like the look? Sure, why not? So let's try it. And I've never embossed with this yet, but here's the good news. It comes with the instructions on either side to tell you what platforms to use. How to use with embossing folders. We're going to need an A and then a B. That's all. So A, B, and our embossing. Now, these are the 3D embossing. So I have a feeling that this is going to be way too thick. Yeah, it is. I don't think we're going to need both platforms. I could be wrong. Let's try it with just the one on the bottom, actually, and see what gives. I just have a feeling that this is going to be way too thick. I might have to go to my other machine. Yep, that's too thin. Oh, you know, I could have also low-tack tape this thing. I'm going to use some Art by Marlene low-tack tape just to hold it in place. Don't you just love these videos where we're just trying out stuff to see what gives? You just never know what's going to happen. So it's all experimental. Okay, we'll try it down there. See if we can hold it in place. And I might have to go get my big shot. Oh, maybe I can do the big shot. That one will probably work on screen. Yeah, this is not going to fit. Okay. At least not that I can think of. I will have to look at some videos, but even with one mat, it is just not going to emboss the 3D. So there goes that plan. Big kick. So I do not have to go to the other table where I have the switch plugged in. Okay, where are we at? I'm missing a plate somewhere. Somewhere I'm missing a plate. It's gonna be too much. And that'll do. Okay. Let's see what we got. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. Can you see that? Very cool. Madison says, oh, I can see it. Okay, so let's try that just real quick. Okay. See why it's sometimes good to keep the manual ones too? You just never know when you're going to use them again. Okay, then after Tim had done that, what he did was, well, he tried with a couple of things. He did use an ink pad, so you can just rub an ink pad, you know, but that kind of was very uniform. Too clean. How's that? So instead, we're going to try, this is the paint palette. This is my used painty stained side. So I'm okay with staining that one. He used something dark, so I'm sure we can use any of these. Light. I think, what is this right here? Forest moss might even work. Okay, well, I think any of these browns would work, as well as this greenish brown, and then of course we have black soot, I'm sure. Yep, so we have black soot, forest moss, vintage photo, gathered twigs, and walnut stain. So I think any of those will work. Oh, I forgot what else we needed. We need some water. So we're gonna get our Tim Holtz sprayer. And what he did was, first, he went ahead and added just a tad of water to his mat. Okay, just a couple of droplets. And he went ahead and rubbed the crayon directly onto his letter. The tile. He just deposited pigment, okay? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not sure how much or how little, so we'll start with that. How's that? I'll bring it up so we can see how much I've added, and then we can see if that was too much. We're also gonna need a paper towel or some kind of a cloth. Okay. Then he dampened his finger, and he said just barely. He said, like, you know, make sure that it's not a whole lot, And then he just started moving it around, just moving it around. Now, once this is on here and it dries, it's not going to be permanent in the sense that if you wet it, it's not going to move, but you would have to wet it. It'll be semi-permanent because obviously I have no intention of putting this near water. So I'm just going to spread some of that out. Okay, it's starting to look really good. And you can see, oh, actually here, let me show you the top and the bottom. So you see how shiny this is, okay, versus the top now, which looks a little grungier. Let's add a little more. Let's do the bottom. Again, we're going to put it on there generously. And then barely dampen my finger. And I'm going to start to work that into those grooves. I'm going to try and push it and smear it, smudge it all into those crevices. Oh yeah, okay, you see how it's now the bottom is got a little bit more definition. And I like the idea of even getting it in here. So you know what, I'm going to add some more. Again, I can always take it away. I can also add it, you know, if I need to. So I'm going to put some more pigment on here, some more of the crayon, and then I'm going to work it also into those little crevices there on the A. Okay, I like it. That is so cool. Look at that. I almost feel like I should go get another pack so that we can compare the two side by side. Again, if we want to remove, we can remove more. If we want to add on, we can add on. But let's compare the two here, the A and the K, just so we see how far we've come. Very cool, huh? It was awesome to begin with, but now it's just that much cooler. Oh, that is pretty neat. Then the other thing that Tim said, that was super simple, by the way. He's right. It's like nothing, like water and a crayon and a paper towel. But the other thing he also did was he took his sanding disc, okay? So then he took it and lightly, so you see how those little rivets and stuff, like they're kind of like they're there, but not like, you know, really showing up. So let's take the sanding disc and lightly sand some of that to make it look, oh yeah. Oh, that's cool. Look at the top where I just scraped. Do you see that? Oh, I might have scraped too hard. You see that? I kind of went in a little lighter handed. All right, let me go light handed. Let me put it here and go light. I did leave some scratches behind. Let's see if this was better. And then again, my sanding disc. Oh yeah, better on the bottom. Here I kind of went a little, but hey, I'm not hating it. You know, that's what metal plates do, right? They get scuffed. Again, I guess if I hate it, we can always add some more brown. So let's say I didn't like that. Can I bring in some more brown and redistress those areas that I just buffed a little too? It didn't take much, by the way. I am not even heavy-handed. So be gentle, especially if you have a new disc. How does that look? Let's see. Yeah, I was able to cover most of the top. Let's cover this area right here. Again, just gonna touch, and then work it in, work it in, work it in here too. And then we can even resand it, because now I've lost that white silver finish to them. See, they're hidden again. So we'll retouch them up softly this time, like super baby soft. I do want to rescuff some of the sides though, because I do like that look. Oh, maybe even down here. Again, this is a really new disc, so it might even work better if you have an older sanding disc. All right, there we go. pretty. Oh, come on. Pretty cool. Oh, there. Very nice. I do apologize for this camera. I'm waiting for the new camera to come in. This is my old camera. And the reason why I got rid of it was, guess what? The zoom was horrible on it, and it's still doing it now. So but hopefully I can find the right camera. All right, that was easy. That was so easy. Not bad at all. So all we did was we heated it to kind of turn it pearl. Then we went ahead and added some crayons. I'm sorry, we embossed it, added the crayons, and then just a little bit of water. And then we sanded it, and it looks awesome. So, shall we try some other things? Let's do one more, and then we'll move on to something else, okay? Okay, I was sitting here thinking and thinking about it after I just finished that segment, and I was going to start this next one, and then I thought of something. I thought, what if I can create my own shimmies for this machine? Because, again, I love it, and it's smaller. And by the way, I did forget, it comes with another plate. So hang on one second. I'm trying to pick up some of the stuff. It comes with the B plate, which I totally forgot. And that's still not going to work with the embossing folder. So, you know, it's just not enough pressure. So then I got to thinking, well, what if, and what is this? This is the wood grain one, right? Yeah, this is the wood grain one. I got to thinking, what if, like I said, I can shimmy this thing and create, this is the same tape I had used previously. Just want to kind of get it straight. Okay. And I still didn't do it straight. Hang on, guys. There. Okay. So even with this, it's just not enough, and with the other one would be too much. So then I just grabbed some of my graphic 45 chipboard, and I thought, what if I can shimmy this and run it through? And again, if I do not feel that it has enough pressure, I have extra shimmies, so I can also add a shimmy to the bottom until I find the right pressure. Again, you do not want to damage your machine, of course not. So you kind of have to try it, right? And go slow. And I think even one would have been enough, to be honest with you. Oh, yeah, look at that. Cool. So, again, be very careful. I do not want you to damage your machine. Come on. There. There's the wood grain one. That's cool. And I just wanted to test it to make sure that that did work. Okay, so you can use your 3D embossing folders. Again, depending on your machine, it might be completely different than this one, but you can make some adjustments if need be. Just be very, very gentle with it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and emboss a whole bunch of these so you guys don't have to continue watching me as I do this, and then we're going to come back and try all kinds of techniques once they are ready, okay? All right, and I forgot to actually heat that one. Now, Tim did mention that if you heat it afterwards, you're going to remove the embossing. So, you know what? We're here. Let's try it. Let me try it with mine so you do not damage yours. Of course, I believe him because I'm sure he knows because they've tried it. So let's see. All right, I'm watching the change happen. It's going pearl matte like. I see it down here more than I saw it up there. And let's do that top again. I'm hoping you guys can see it happen on screen. All right, I just saw it happen. I'm trying to heat it up even more just to see if I can remove the grain, the embossing. So now I'm just overheating it on purpose. All right, let me heat it from the bottom and see if that changes anything. It still looks pretty embossed to me. Hmm. No, I don't see that it flattened it any at all. And I mean, you can even see it on the back, right? See the embossing on the back? Well, no, maybe not. I'll show you the front. I can still see the embossing on there. So, hmm, I'm not sure. Yeah, no, it feels pretty much the same. So it might not make a difference. We'll try it with another piece and I'll let you know what the results are. But I'm going to go ahead and do some more of these and come back and then we'll try some different techniques on them, okay? On this next tile, I want to try some crayons again, but I want to try some different colors, not just a grungy browns or blacks, but something a little bit more with a little more pop. So let's give these colors a go and then we'll see how they look. I definitely enjoy the colors a lot more because they are just great. Now, I know the camera doesn't do it justice, so fear not, at the end and throughout, I am going to have some still photos, okay? So you'll be able to see them up close and personal. Since I felt encouraged with those colors, guess what? We're going to bring in even more color this time. Let's push it. Let's go brighter like reds and lime greens and see what we get. I rub some of it down just to lighten it up just a bit, but look at those great colors. And wait till you see the still photos, they're even better. I'm going to use my stylus tip tool to clean off those edges. And now we are going to move on to another technique. So for our next technique, we are going to be using paints. That's right, distress paints. So let's take a look and see what we can come up with. Here, I've picked some colors. Again, you pick whatever you have that you're working with. I am sure it'll be great. Now, we know that distress paints are permanent. So once they are dry, they are not coming off. So that, of course, gives us great confidence to be able to use them in this project since it has that bit of a foil finish. And by the way, I did not heat up any of these again, so I didn't create that matte or semi-matte pearlesque or pearl finish. I just used them the way they were because I wanted to see, can I push them? What if somebody doesn't have a heated tool? Which, by the way, if you do not have them, we do have it in store. But if you happen not to have a heating tool, well, guess what? What can we do without it? And so again, we're going to experiment with all kinds of different mediums and see what gives. I'll tell you ahead of time, some of them are going to be a success, some of them are not. But do not despair because I'm going to share some tips there too. Okay, with these, of course, I am trying to see how can I change the color. So it does not have to be that golden bronzy kind of color. We could also turn them, why not? Silver. We can turn them, any color we want. And paints are just the perfect medium to do that. And then I'm going to try and give it like a little bit of a mossy look, not necessarily a lot of green, but just enough that it looks like maybe it's that silver has been aged and it looks really, really neat. I'll show you again here. I'll bring it up and then I'll show you some close-ups at the end too. These turned out super cool. And of course, they are permanent. So take a look at those. Pretty neat. I'll do close-ups later. Now, speaking of permanent, let's go on to technique number 3. Let's try alcohol inks and see how that looks. Now, the cool thing about alcohol inks is, of course, they are permanent. They're easy to use. A little bit goes a long, long way. But also the fact that we can go with some bright colors as well. So again, we already know we can do the vintage thing. We know that we've got that down pat. I want to try and see just how far I can push these with some alcohol inks as well. Now that first color was terracotta, and you can see just how brilliant and bright it is. But you will notice that from here on out, I will not be giving you any colors anymore because I thought of something. I thought, well, you know what? I want you guys to experiment with what you've got. I want you to choose your own colors. Yes, you can see what I have on the table. And of course, if you like what you see, by all means, use the same colors, but do take adventure, be daring and just use whatever. Throw it all in there and see what happens. Remember, if you do not like it, you can always start all over again. You can even gesso this and start all over again, or you can even take your sanding disc and sand it some and then add some more colors. So be daring. These colors turn out so brilliant. Like it's super vibrant. Like I know it's hard to see yet because the camera and of course they're still a little wet. Alcohol does dry very quickly though, so no need to worry about that. But the colors are great. So if you're looking for a pop of color, of course, you can also grunge them. But if you also are looking for a pop of color, alcohol inks are going to be a really great way to achieve that. Wait till you see the still photos on these. Okay, well, that was a success. Let's move on to technique number 4. Why don't we try some Stamperia aqua colors? These sprays are awesome. They are permanent. They are layerable, so you can layer them. But I was curious to see how they would hold up to this finish. Once again, it's non-primed, non-sanded, not even heat set. Let's try some sprays, some aqua color sprays, and see what we get. You have to make sure you shake them. The pigment will be on the bottom. And always, like I tell everyone, make sure you shake them side to side, okay? Like you're ringing for the butler and not up and down so that you do not clog your straws. If you happen to clog the straw or the nozzle, make sure that you run it under hot water or leave it in a cup, and then you'll be able to respray. But they do clog from time to time. I always clean my my little opening there where you spray out, just because I don't want it to clog there either. But a good shake will help. Of course, it's unavoidable. All sprayers that have pigments and special things that settle on the bottom will clog from time to time. So don't panic if they do. You can totally clean out that straw and reuse. More importantly, you do not have to use them. That way you can also just use them, as you're going to see me use my blue, which, guess what? It got clogged. So I will just go ahead and take out the straw and use it that way. You can also use a paintbrush if you like. Wait until you see these. They remind me almost of tiles. They're so cool. I know the camera. I'll get there. It will focus eventually. I am going to order one today because, yeah, I definitely need something that'll focus a lot better and a lot quicker than this. It's definitely a struggle. But do you see that? How beautiful. And wait till you see it dry. It got better when it dried. It was amazing when it dried. So I will show you the still photos. So we know that aqua colors are also an option now. See, we're learning so many other things that we can use. Okay, so let me give these a good dry, and then we're going to move on to technique number 5. I absolutely love these. They are just so cool. Do you see all that crackling and just yumminess? They are quite awesome. But let's move on. Let's try something else. How about if for technique number 5, we try the Moon Shadow Sprays from Lindy's Stamp Gang? Okay, now these are the sepia-based moonshadow sprays. So they do have some pigments, some colors like blues and reds and yellows and purples, but the base is sepia because they're meant to be vintage, sepia looking. So we're always going to get that little bit of a brown grunge to them or vintage to them. But I was curious to see would they dry, would they stay, and would they also layer up? So let's see what we get. Okay, so let me show you these. So you can see a little bit of a grayish blue on here, not too much. So you know what? I'm going to add some more to try and bring out that blue a little bit more. Again, it's always going to be that vintage sepia look, but I'll show you that the more you layer up, the more you're going to see those colors. Okay, so, and then I'm going to try and find some pink or some purple. I'm trying to use different colors on the different little mini stencil chips so that we can see, what if they were orange? What if they were teal? What if they were blue and pink? I don't know. Try different things. Can you see the blue now a little bit more on here? Yes, we can. Okay, that's kind of neat. And I'm going to just because I'm impatient, I'm going to take away the wet spots. And then I'm going to add this purplicious kind of a pinky color. Let's see what we get. That looks really good. That blue and reddish mixture just really made for a really nice, almost rusted kind of blue finish to them. Very vintage looking. So totally love those. Okay, so how many of the embossed chips do we still have left? Not many of the mini stencils that are embossed. I've been trying to do at least 2 of each, so I've got these 3 left. Let's move on to technique number 6. We're going to use some alchemy waxes. Now, alchemy waxes are awesome on paper, on wood, on metal, on resin, on any kind of mold or casting that you're using as well. So I figure, well, let's try them on here because I love the look and the ease of use of alchemy waxes. They're super easy to use. They smell amazing. I do. I love their smell. It's so pretty. And they come in so many different colors, from blues, pinks, reds, greens, purples, you name it, silver, golds. Oh gosh, multiple golds, pearl colors. You've got all kinds. But I'm trying out some of the new ones too, because I haven't played with the new ones a whole lot. So I wanted to see what the new ones would also do. Of course, I have some old ones as well. So, and the super old ones are the ones that come in the round tins. Those don't exist anymore, but they'll last you forever. I've had these for years, and this is how much I've used, and I use them all the time. So, alchemy waxes, let's see. Let's give it a go. Alchemy Wax is definitely our win. They are easy to use, easy to clean up. Actually, there's no cleanup really. And you can apply it with your fingers. They smell great. And you can see just how easy it is to add colors, endless colors, to your little mini stencil chips. Okay, let's move on to technique number 7. Let's go back to some Tim Holtz products and use the embossing glazes. Now, glazes are awesome because they are an embossing powder, which you have to heat set, but remember, they are glazes. So they don't have that full on color. It's more of a tint, a very subtle tint. So let's see how the tint works. We're going to use a scratch piece of paper so we can put any remainder back in the jar. I'm going to dip it directly onto my pad. And then we're going to add a little bit of product. It's going to look very bright, but wait till you see when it's heat set how it's going to become that see-through glaze. See how green this looks right now, like that pistachio color? Put everything back in the jar so there is no waste. Okay, do you see how bright that green looks? Like you can really see it. Now wait until we melt it. And then of course, it's gonna look like granules. Once it starts to heat set, if you've never used these, you're gonna realize that they go from that granule look to a liquid look. They just kind of melt, and then you won't see that color as bright anymore. You're gonna see it more of a translucent. I'm heating it from the front and the back in order to prevent warping and to allow the heat to pass through. And let me see if I can get this to focus for you guys and show you. Do you see? It's a very light green. Okay, so that gives you an idea. It's super cool though. Now you could also use your embossing pen, or you can use your embossing dauber or dabber. We have all those in stock as well. I'm going to re-ink this with my pad. And then I'm going to bring in another color. It's funny, you know, I have a bunch of these that are new. And the reason why is because I was doing a project, which was really neat, by the way. I colored a napkin with the glazes and on a canvas, and it looks really neat. I'll try and link that down below in case you guys want to see that video. But I realized something. We all have favorite colors, right? And we tend to want to, or we gravitate towards those colors, right? So I had a bunch of the same colors in the same family, but I didn't have a whole lot of variety. So I did end up getting a bunch of these so that I could have all kinds of different colors. So now I've got pinks, and I've got reds, and I've got greens and blues and all those beautiful colors. Okay, so here's the honey, and be careful, it is going to be hot. Look how cool. That gave it like a yellowish, reddish kind of a tint. And I'm just looking to see what else can we throw at this. Again, it's all about experimenting. So keep playing and have fun. Now, if you want to do some details, this is where your pen will come in, your embossing pen. So I'm going to take my pen, and I thought that that dark area there on the inside would look really neat. So I'm going to add just to the corners and to the inside of the S. And we're going to see, you know, how does it look? Does it look good? And I'm going with this deep, deep color just to make sure. If you have a little too much somewhere, you can always just kind of take it away by swiping it. You can swipe it with a brush if you like, or you can do it with your finger like I've done. And now let's heat set that and see how that looks. Absolutely love that. What do you guys think? Isn't that a great way to add some speckles? Now I notice here that I created a little divot because I was using the product and it was still liquid. So you can use your pen to touch up those areas and then just add whatever color you'd like to fill it in. Or you can just reheat it and it will flow back into that. But I figure, hey, why not add some additional little green in there, that pistachio color? All goes back in the jar. And I'm going to heat set that area so I no longer have. So if you make any boo-boos or if you see any spots that are not, maybe covered, you can always reheat them or you can just add additional powder and now it looks even better. I always say, I think my best moments in creating art or crafting are brought on when there is a boo-boo and I have to fix it because I have to get creative and come up with something and that challenges you and of course expands your creativity. All right, let's keep playing. Now we're going to try some different colors. Again, I keep trying to do all kinds of different color combinations with all the different products because I want to see which ones look good, which ones are not my favorite, which ones work, which ones don't. All right, here we go. Isn't that fire brick delicious? Look at that color. It just really helped to accent the colors that were already on the mini stencil chips. Look at this. Oh, cool. Plus it gave it texture too. Okay, let's keep playing. Again, play with what you have. Of course, if you need anything, you do know that we carry thousands of products in both of our online stores. We have two stores to serve you. We have SpectrumArtCreations.com, and we also have our Etsy store, which is Spectrum Art Creations as well on Etsy. But I'll leave all that information at the end. So do not forget to stay tuned until the end so that you can see all the information and of course the links, the Facebook group, and so much more. Oh, that blue is going to be great. Okay, let's keep playing. I love how the little letters are left behind too when you use the powders. It's so funny, which gives me an idea. Don't forget, these are stencils. If you actually wanted to use them, since you're using your sprays anyway, to spray through, when you're doing that, you can spell stuff on like cardstock and have it ready to go for projects. You can spell different words while you're playing along with these. Oh, that is so cool. You love it? I do. Okay, don't forget, if you do try any of these and you want to share pictures, we would love to have you join us in the Facebook group so you can post yours. I'll leave that information at the end as well. I think you will agree with me that the embossing glazes were a win. Totally. Those are awesome. I love them. Its texture, its shine, its color, it looks amazing. But guess what? We're going to push it further. Let's go to technique number 8. And now let's add some different mediums and some pastes. Oh yeah, let's get some texture in. Now, the grit snowfall paste is beautiful for creating snow effects. Of course, it looks like snow when it dries. It makes great texture. You can do peaks. You can do, deeper areas than others. You can put it around a window or a door or even tree branches. It's just great. It's fun to use. And of course, it's perfect for Christmas in July or the Christmas season or January and Feb and all those great snowy months. However, you don't have to leave it like snow. You can also color this texture paste, which is awesome. So I am going to experiment with some. Now, you could have colored it with any of the things that we used so far, all of the sprays, um, oh my goodness, everything, the alcohol inks, all of those would apply. However, we are going to use something different because, again, we're all about trying new mediums today, just trying to see what else we can throw at this. So we're going to set those off to the side and we're going to let them dry naturally, okay? While those are drying, let's try some grave paste. Now, this is neat, of course, because it's like grave paste for like Halloween and stuff like that, but it is a texture paste. So again, it's amazing for giving anything texture, for adding, to your projects and kind of giving them a little something extra, and it can be colorized as well. So it's not limited to just Halloween. I will give you a tip. Make sure that you guys use your press and seal on all of your texture pastes whenever you're not using them, to keep them, because you didn't see it on camera, but I opened up my first one, which I had used last Halloween, which was what, let's see, about 8, 9 months ago, and it was completely dry. So it my fault. I did not seal it. So if you're not going to use it right away and you're going to let it sit there for 9 months or a year, definitely use some press and seal wrap, plastic wrap, in order to prevent air from going in. And you can also add a little bead of Vaseline around the edge, again, to prevent from the air getting in. Plus, it also makes the jars easier to use. All right, let's move on to crackle paste from Stamperia. This is one of my favorite crafting, pastes in my arsenal. I just love my crackle paste. There are two different ones. There's a white and there's a clear, and I love them both. I can't get enough of them. I go through tons of these because it's perfect. It crackles every time and it looks amazing. So I wanted to see how they would look on these, and if we get some amazing crackling, then we can do some fun techniques. So let's see how that turns out. Okay, with those all dried, we're going to move on to technique number 9, which is re-inkers. Now, these are all dried, so I will show you. Here is the snow. Hopefully it'll focus. There we go. Very cool, right? It looks great just the way it is. Great texture. Looks super cool, but we're going to colorize it by bringing in some of the inks. So these are all re-inkers for the ink pads. Now, the black tops are for the regular distress inks, and then the ones with the silver caps are the ones for the oxides. So I don't have a lot for the oxides. I've come to realize I have a lot of re-inkers for my ink pads, my regular oxide, my regular distress ink pads. Lots and lots and lots of those, but not a whole lot of anything else. So we'll see. We'll see what we can come up with. Oh, by the way, I should mention, a little, and I mean a little, goes a long, long way. Okay. So especially with these tiles, but they're so cool because they're going to go into all of those little nooks and crannies. I actually had to remove some because, wow, yeah, it went a long way. So one teeny tiny, not even drop, barely a touch would have been more than sufficient. Look at, isn't that neat? Okay, let's keep playing. I hope you're playing along. By the way, if you are liking this video and you are enjoying it, May I just take a second and ask you to please hit that like button? It would really help the channel and allows us to bring additional content. And of course, that you go ahead and share us out, okay? Share this video with friends, and I would love to hear your comments. Which one was your favorite technique, right? Which one have you tried? Are you gonna try? Do you have these mini stencils yet? If not, has this given you ideas and encouragement to get some? I certainly hope so. All right, let's keep playing. Now, as I mentioned, I don't seem to have a lot of oxide re-inkers in my personal stash. Of course, the store is fully stocked, but I personally don't have that many because I guess I've just never needed to. My ink pads last a long time. I've had them for years and they still don't need re-inking. And it's funny because oxides are, other than the vintage photo and stuff like that, which I use a lot for, of course, distressing or inking my edges, I pretty much use my oxide pads for everything. So it's kind of funny. I've never noticed that I've never had to re-ink them, which is great though, right? I mean, that's a good thing. That's a great problem to have. All right, so I wanted to mix whatever I had in the oxides with the regular inks to see how they would work together, and they certainly do work together. They look beautiful. I hope you are going to try both as well and try them in combinations, try them independently, because they certainly are a whole lot of fun to just mix some colors. Let's mix some more. Now, I'm going to do two with the re-inkers and the snow, and then I'm going to leave one snow as it is with nothing on it, so that we can, of course, see a comparison whether we want to add re-inking or re-inkers or not, or any other spray. Maybe you just want to leave them with the grit the way it is. So I will have all those here at the end. Oh, look at that yummy result of the oxide re-inker and the regular re-inker. It's so beautiful. All right, let's move on and play with the grave paste. Okay, again, I'm going to leave one behind so we can just leave it as is, and then let's play with these other ones. Wow, the color really pops on the grave paste. Okay, so the next one, I'm going to do a little bit more subtle than this one. Again, we're going to try different things, right? How does it look with bright colors versus, something a little bit more subtle? So on this one, let's take it down a notch. Let's keep it kind of simple and just see what it would look like if it was just a little bit more grunged up. Again, just using barely a drop now because I've learned that the re-inkers go a long, long way. And look at that. Pretty neat, right? I love it. But I'm going to add just a teeniest, tiniest drop there of this beautiful color. I think it was Victorian velvet. It might have been. But again, I want you to just play with whatever you've got. You know, live dangerously. Just add whatever. And look, so pretty, so pretty. Yes. Okay, let's move on because we've got our Stamperia crackle paste. And I'm looking at it. I'm picking the ones that I think look really good. Now, like I said, there's good, there's bad, and there's ugly. Right? That's what happens when you experiment with things. And just because a product works for one thing doesn't mean that it will necessarily work on another. Because here is what happens. I'm going to kind of, let the cat out of the bag. This was an epic failure. Now, here's what happened. When I wetted and I added the alcohol inks, I noticed that it started lifting in certain places. So I was like, oh no, maybe they weren't dry, or maybe there was some kind of a chemical reaction between the inks or the water. And then I thought, no, I've used this paste. Like I said, it's one of my favorites on everything, canvas, paper. I mean, I've used it on everything. And I added water to it. I've added sprays of all kinds. I mean, anything you can imagine I've done. And it just, has always worked. And then I realized, no, look at this. It's just peeling. It's lifting. Let me see if I can get it to focus. It was looking amazing until I realized that some of it was starting to peel off. And I thought, oh, look at that. That little bit just flaked off. And no, it wasn't just a little bit, it just kept flaking. So here's my conclusion. Will it work? Absolutely. Do I need to prime the surface first? Definitely. So priming would do it, as well as even a light sanding would work. Basically, because of that shiny coating finished, it will just not work. Look, everything just peeled off. I just was able to peel the whole thing right off of the little mini stencil chips. So we're going to have to experiment and definitely do some priming and some gessoing, maybe some clear gesso or some light sanding. Because yeah, even on the ones that I didn't add any product, so it wasn't a reaction, it came right off. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope that it gives you encouragement to go out there and try and use all of the things that you have in your stash to create some amazing different mini stencil chips. Do they look gorgeous as they are out of packaging? Absolutely. You don't need to do a single thing to them. Super fun to use. However, should you want something different, should you want to change them up for a specific project, whether it's Christmas or Halloween or Father's Day or grunge or vintage or shabby, rustic, Americana, whatever theme you're going for, you now know that you've got tons of choices to change them up and make them unique with embossing folders and pastes and all kinds of other mediums. So as you can see from the close-ups, once they dry, they really do shine, and so many of the product just looks amazing on them. Do you have a favorite? Which technique was your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. Are you going to try one? I would love for you to try one, two, or many more. I really do hope that you will, because it's fun. Like once you get started, you can't stop. And every result is different. So it just encourages you to try another one and another one. So much fun. I really hope that you had a lot of fun creating or watching along with us. And if you have enjoyed the video, please, if you don't mind, take 30 seconds and just make sure that you give this video a like, leave a comment down below, and of course, share in your crafty groups. All of the products that you've seen here are available in our online stores. As I mentioned, we have 2 online stores with thousands of products ready to serve you. We have SpectrumArtCreations.com and our Etsy store as well, which is also Spectrum Art Creations. We actually have 3 ways for you to shop. Not only the 2 online stores, but we also have live sales right here on this channel on YouTube every week. So we love for you to join us for our live sales. during those live sales, you get to see the product live right in front of you. You also get to shop live on the spot. You get to chat live and make new friends. And you also get to join in the games and giveaways. Those are live every week. You can shop from the comfort of home without ever leaving in your comfy clothes. Never have to worry about a parking spot for products, from all around the world. If you are on Facebook, make sure that you join our Facebook group. Okay, it's Spectrum Art Creation Friends. It is an exclusive, closed, private group because it is a great, safe place for you to go ahead and share your makes as well. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe bell so that we can continue to bring additional content to you. And if you have some time, when you go to the online store, SpectrumArtCreations.com, make sure you sign up for the newsletter. It's free, and every week you will get secret passwords for giveaways as well as notifications. So super simple to sign up. It takes 10 seconds, and we will never spam your box, trust me. I'm going to leave this other video here for more inspiration, so won't you click on that, hop on over, and I will see you over there.